Sorry, I have still enabled this. Let's import from SketchUp. Let's search if, I'm still in edit mode. Why is not? I have to activate it. If now I search for a boat, boat, not boy. Okay, let's see this one. Takes a while. Wow, it was huge. You see that the wood is following the shape of the boat, no? So if you think to what I explained, this cut is wrong here, because the boat does something as this. So actually, if I go in edit mode, okay, it's better to go back to paths. I can, for example, this part has a different texture. Can be, you see, it's going this direction. And this part is going this direction. So I can divide the back from the sides. And also, this part on the top was better if it was separate. Okay, it's easier on a separate object to work, but I can do it like this. It's you know, a bit of work by hand. Also, the topology is not the best because it's not a model that I know, that I model it, or one of you modeled, so you know exactly how it is. You have some, maybe there are also some vertices not connected. Yes, I merged 383 vertices, so let's do it again. How I discovered it? Because I was here, I have seen that it wasn't following my shortcut. With control we can do a shortcut selection. Okay. Do you have a question?
I just have a
yes,
sorry.
I have.
Go ahead.
I have question.
Okay.
Can I?
Yes, of course.
Is this Luis talking? So my question is, if I will make some model in VR, and as you know, topology is very bad, but I will get some very unique model. Do I need to make retopology, or just?
Good question. Depends. Depends what is the result that you want to obtain. If someone say to you that you don't need UV map, it's false, because you are always using a UV. And I show to you what I mean. When you go in shading, if you remember, now probably I will have a very complex, yes, I imagine that. It's a bit, not so complex, but a bit complex, okay? But let's take the first, the first one. Oh, they made this. Okay, this is over. I don't know what they did. Yeah, okay. This is not connected. Sorry, I erased it. Okay, let's take the base color, okay? If you see here, I'm using my UV, okay? But actually, there is another way of using texture coordinate. I can use these different kinds of coordinates that are visible for the moment only in Blender. When you export it, you have always to use UV. But generated normal object, camera, window, and this stuff, okay, doesn't mean that you are not using UV. You are using some UV space that is generated by Blender. But this doesn't mean that we are not using UV. Okay, there is only one way to not use UV, and actually I think 3D Codes is making stuff in that way. But in the moment that you need the model without UV to be used somewhere else, you can't, because you need UV again. Because there is something that is, I don't remember now, sorry guys, but it's by Pixar, I think, and is a texture that's don't take my words too serious, because it's not exactly like that. I'm trying to simplify something that is more complex. But it's like painting vertices, okay? It's not painting UV, is painting vertices. And this kind of texturing is something that only in software like 3D Coat and some other software you can do, and you can render inside there. But when you are outside, you still need UV. So UV is still used. And also the other way of making texturing is a bit heavy for game engine. It's something that is more used for cinema, where you can have very big render farm, very big servers, all the structure is bigger, and so you can also have things that require a lot of computing, okay? Otherwise, UV are always there, okay? So, answering to you, Vera, sorry for the long, for this long discourse, but when you export a model, okay, if you don't have a good topology, you need to think how you want to use that model. If texturing is not super important, okay, I mean, so if you don't need a specific shading on it, okay, you can use some tricks and still obtain a nice result. But for something that can be cool for the moment is a code that I show to you, MatMap, and is this stuff here. If I go on layout, and you see now I have these colors, I can also decide to change it to something like this, and is giving me the illusion that I have a material, okay? And I can also create some materials like that don't need UV. It's tricking my eyes that there is a shading on it, okay? But I haven't still find a way to implement this in the app, for example. Instead, this is something that works in Spark AR. You can put matcap there and obtain some nice shading. Here I have only the defaults, okay, you can, this is horrible, let's choose another one. And also I have to disable random by object. You see, you can obtain, I also explain something else. You know that sometimes when you have big models, it happens that you don't see all the models. Simply you have to go here at the top, under view, and change the clipping of the view. If I put 100 kilometers, you see that my model is back. Or if you are too close, for example, like this, here it's working, but sometimes it happens the same.
Yeah, many times
Yes,
I imported
this.
my model, I couldn't find it.
Yeah, it happens this. You have to change here the clipping. This is the near plane, okay, and this is the far plane. Now you see, I don't see nothing because it's. But if I start to increase the number, this is something that Blender does to optimize the speed of the viewport. Otherwise, if you have a very big scene, like let's say kilometers of stuff, and you are starting to show everything in your viewports, it slows down. So you have to always to find a compromise. And here actually is because I have a very big model. Something that also I need to explain to you. Now here, if I select the item, you see that I have my scale applied. Okay. 111. If here, okay, I have, okay, now I've messed up my model. But if here, okay, I have the scale, all the scale has to be, okay, accordingly. If my scale is not 1, I have to apply it before starting unwrapping. Going back to us, and here, okay, now is a mess. Going back to us, if I go again to my old matcap random, okay, and I go to the editing, you see that now my space is much better from the part I have done. Now, if here I separate the upper part, okay, you will see that everything will move. Just a second, guys. Sometimes this. Okay. And now Mark Sim. You see how much better it is. Also, the relation between this part and this. Now the dimension are much clearer. Obviously, I need also to take this and to rotate it if my texture is going to be vertical, and to do a lot of other optimization. And also now because the texturing was done probably inside another software, I have a mess. Probably they did an automatic unwrap because they applied the texturing inside the substance, maybe. Okay, so you can still have a nice result with bad map. Here I have, you see, I have a bit of seams. I have, of distortion. I need to try to always edge. I need to try to, for example, but now you see another problem is that now this is overlapping. This is not good. When a UV is overlapping the other ones, if you are not using tileable texture, you are having problems. So maybe sometimes it's better to have more island, like this. You see, it's much better. And also because this part is has a different flow, okay, of the both main part. This is the flow of this. Instead, this can be like only one piece going this way. In this way, I solved the problem. So you have to do it accordingly to your mesh. Why I have explained before simple meshes. Look, if I take this part and with the slash, okay, of the keypad, okay, I isolate it, okay. Actually, also because this part is identical to the other, okay, I can, let's try to see if I have doubles. Yes, I have doubles. I've merged the vertices. And after also I have triangles, so better to try to convert them to quads, okay, when I'm unwrapping. Because these parts are identical, I can separate one by the others. I select everything. I select this and I separate this selection. After I put with right click my what is I'm still in edit mode. Local. Yeah, now in object. Okay. I set my origin to the geometry. Now it's here. And I think I identical, so I do the same selecting this. Now my origin, you see, is here. I put it to the geometry back. With right click, right to the geometry. This should be identical to this. Now, if I select before this and after that one that I want to copy to have an instance, with Ctrl L, if I do object data, now this rotated because, but I can, reposition it. And now I just unwrap only one of them, and the other one will have the same unwrap. With Ctrl L, you can copy the data. I mean the topology of one mesh to the other if are identical. After we have to reset the rotation of something. But in this way, I have only to unwrap it. And why I explained it to you how to unwrap a cube. This can look like a cube, and this can look as a cylinder. So I separate it like this. Here, 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 there. I mark this seam, and I have separated the cylinder by the cube. And after, what I do, I take this until here, and this until here. Maybe it's not working very well because I have a bit of mess here, but mark it as a seam. Let's try. I do the same here, mark seam, and I do the same here. Okay. And after here, I have a cylinder. Here is already subdivided there. And I take this. I go. Sometimes rotation is not my friend. I go up to here, I mark this seam, I select the top of my cylinder. Okay, I can, because it's a very long piece. You see, this long piece is taking all my texture space and is a small piece. So to reduce it, I have to split a bit. I mark another seam here and I mark another seam here, for example. Now, if you look on the bottom, it's a mess because it was textured with a different UV, okay? But now, if I press U and I reset it moment and I wrap it, you see that I don't have so much distortion. Maybe here, because I don't, here I have a cylinder that is not subdivided well. So I have to subdivide the bottom face and the top face. If now I mark this seam, my distortion is gone. You see that a part here, because that I can try to put a mark here. And also I have this too long part, so it's better to maybe, because are only, you know, on a small side of my boat. I don't know how to to call this stuff, but these things, okay. And I can, for example, separate all it. So why is not selecting? Okay, that is the distance. I can try to do this, because it was also too long. And mark seam. Now it looks much better, even if this is very, very long, this stuff. So what I do, for example, in a place that I don't see too much, like here, or here maybe, so it's in the middle, I put the cut, and now my space is much better, you see? Okay, guys. And you see, I don't have too many pieces. Is it okay?
Yeah, a bit complicated, but okay.
But you have seen, I have, you know, the cylinder, if you look, this one, the main long part was the simplest one. I subdivided it as a cylinder. The top of the cylinder, if you remember, the bottom of the cylinder.
Understandable.
Yeah, no? And after here, the only thing I did is, because this looks like a cube, but you see, they did also bad topology, because here I have triangles mixed with some quads. For that, a good topology is important. Probably if the topology was better, here, instead of triangles, I had a quad, and it wasn't doing this strange stuff. This one. But actually, if something looks like a cube, just look how a cube is unwrapped, when how I have shown to you, and you can apply that to more complex things. The only different things that is super complicated is if you are making organic stuff. And I don't know if I find okay, but it's the more maybe organic thing that you can find a bit, no? If I find a man, let's see if I find it on Sketchfab. Let's go out from isolation mode. Let's man statue. Let's see. Now, a man and comes out, the statue of a lion. It's obvious. Maybe head. Head is better. Come on. This one, perfect. I hope the topology is not bad. Wow, a lot of vertices. I think is very bad. In case I interrupt it. Let's see the topology, how it is. It's terrible. Not horrible, it's terrible. So, maybe I try to filter it. I don't have a model because of human, because I don't model humans usually, but it's important to find one. Sorry guys for making you wait. I hope there is one. This one. Okay. I hope the topology is not the best, but okay. Let's convert it to quads. Okay, to oh. Okay. So let's apply our.
How do you know if topology is good or not?
By the flow. I mean, I have explained it at the first time. Okay, when you see that, for example, here is not good. Also, this okay because I have a lot of here. For example, is not good because I have a lot of mesh. Okay, but topology depends by the flow. I mean, if I have a hole, I should be able to select it thanks to loops. If you remember the I showed to you this way, that is easier. If, for example, you have always to take simple examples, okay, to start understand more complex topology things. And it took me some time to understand it. And actually something that can be good for me, it's also depends by your experience, okay? Someone can say topology is not bad. Depends by what you mean for bad topology. For me, bad topology, for example, for the hub is when you have a lot of polygons, of triangles. It's not good for the hub, so it's bad topology also if the flow is good. After I consider, apart the numbers of polygons needed for that amount of details, after I start to consider the flow of the quads. What means the flow? It means that if I have a node, for example, now I put, let's put plane. Okay. And I subdivide it a couple of times. I go in edit mode, subdivide it, subdivide. Okay. Let's do it in 49. Okay. I subdivided it. Now I make a circle, the center, Make a circle. Okay. For example, now if here, okay, around the circle, I can't have a loop cut that looks like a circle, I have bad topology because I can't make other details around the circle. Okay, I'm doing this, is interrupted. Instead, if I have the flow that is following, okay, the circle, I have good topology. So I erase the faces. You see that now I have selected the edge loop, okay? This means that here I have my good topology for the circle. If now I extrude it and I scale it, okay, and after, okay, I can do this around the circle. Here I have a good flow because I can still add details only around the circle. Okay. Another thing that I consider in bad topology at the beginning, as after you can also to have good topology with angles, means with polygons with more than 4 edges, or with triangles. Okay. But, for example, if I have triangles and I want to make some sculpting, okay, I have bad topology because sculpting is better. For sculpting, is better to have all quads, okay? Otherwise, I will have problems. And that's another way to understand bad good topology, okay? But actually, for me, good topology means something that follow the flow. I mean, if I need to add details on the circle, I have the possibility to add details only around the circle. For example, if here I fill this hole, okay, and this is an angle, okay, if it's flat, it's not bad. But if for example, I move this vertex here, this is horrible topology. You see that here the software is not understanding if it's flat or if it's, or you see that I have strange behavior. I don't see edges. I don't understand. It's flat or it's two-dimensional. If it's not flat and angle, it's bad topology. Okay. And also here inside, I can add other details. You see, it's interrupted. Instead, if I fill it with a grid, you see that I can still make some details there. So for me, good topology is the flow where you need it. Around circle, you need to have the possibilities to add other details with a loop cut. And good topology for me is at the beginning. After, when you understand where you can put it, you can put triangles and angles, but at the beginning, avoid them.
Okay, now I get it. Thank you.
Okay, this is my way to see good topology. Actually, is a subject that maybe someone else explained to you in a different way. I have always have different versions of good topology. So, everybody I talked, they said something a bit more about good topology and bad topology. And always the answer like, I don't know how to explain. It's more something like by experience. And actually it's a bit true because when you see, okay, bad topology is this, is that as a topology that doesn't allow to you to make what you want to do. For example, if you have triangles and you try to sculpt, you will have a lot of problems. That's bad topology. So I hope helped this to you. Okay.
Okay.
Vera, yes, I'm seeing your message now on the chat. Yes, in virtual reality, there are some people that don't care too much about good topology, but because, you know, in virtual reality, a lot of people came from different backgrounds. And also, I say to you, bad topology or good topology depends by what you want to do. If you want to make texturing and you have bad topology matters. But depends what you want to do. Because if, for example, you put a markup, as I have shown to you before, my UV map was messed up with material, with texturing. If you have seen, my texture was horrible after I did the cut, okay? But putting that material, okay, looks nice. If you look at it, you say, oh, it's nice. But what if, for example, you know, you have something that is, good topology for the flow means also that, for example, where you have something that is bending and you don't have quartz, okay, if you are going to make animation on it, the animator will say to you, what you have done here? Because I animate my knee and I'm moving also a piece of the arm because it's all connected in a bad way. So actually depends by what you want to do. And sometimes I use also bad topology. For example, if I put something with markup for virtual reality, why not to use a topology that that texturing is not made well? And also, when I have to, I show to you because, but this is not possible in the app, or I haven't discovered yet how to do this, okay? There is something that is called three-planar mapping, okay? If now I take my cube, not the cube, maybe it's not the best example. I take a cone, okay? And on this cone, let's put the checker texture, maybe can work. No, I have to put this shading, not look too much to this, because I haven't explained procedural materials, but if I put wave texture, okay, and separate, no, where is separate, yes, and now I go here and no, can put already here. You see, now I have this result. And because Blender is already making me a UV mapping, you see, that is already generated the UV map. But if I go to UV, now because it's already unwrapped, right? But if I reset it, you see that now it looks different. Instead, generated looks still nice. Because actually is already using a kind of auto UV. Is already based on the position of my object, giving me a auto, let's say, unwrap. Sorry, a moment, guys. Okay. Is it clear? It's already generated by texture coordinate. And if I have UV object,
yes, it's clear.
If I go to, If I go just like that, you see that now instead I have a different way to map it. In fact, if I go to principle, it changed again. It's not so clear on this, but maybe like yeah, object generated is similar, but the only things that I don't explain it how it works, okay, because it doesn't work inside the app. But if you want to make render, actually, if you go inside the Blender and you put generated and on your let's put an image. I have to find an image of something. For example, what can bricks? Okay. Okay. Save images. Side here. Just a second, guys. Should be this. Yeah. If now I go to UV, it's a mess because I don't have UV. But if I go to object, it's like projecting on it. And if I, for example, I put a cube, so it's better, I reset my UV, and after I put my material, you see that now is a mess because it's using UV. What happened here? Okay, I get it. So I clean it. Okay. Sorry, 1 second that I'm rebooting my image. Now I have something that is a bit looks fine, but because it's occupying my, but that's mess our UV. So it's more clear. Now if I go to UV, I have a bad UV, it's resulting like this. But if I go to generated, okay, you will see that I have still this problem. Because here in image, okay, I have something here that is flat. If I put box, it's doing something that is called triplanar projection, okay? It's like projecting my image from every side of the object. Okay, so using generated texture coordinate, okay, together with the box projection inside Blender, I have this result without making any seams. And this works also if I have a very complex object. See, still keeping it. You see, it's continuously projecting the image, so it looks always pretty good. But this is good to make stuff on things that looks like cubes. But here you see that I can't have the orientation in the right direction. I should unwrap it if I want here to have the right direction, the right flow of my text. But to make, an house, for example, texturing and to render inside Blender, you do it very fast. Okay?
Okay.
It's 5 o'clock. Do you want to say something else? Let me know. Otherwise, I hope it was interesting. Oh, the keyframe. Someone. Yeah. Sorry, guys. I remember now. I have to answer that question. Who asked about?
Me, Veronica.
Okay. Is it fine for also others to see a bit keyframing? Yeah, I think is a yes, or everybody is sleeping.
I hope not.
Yes, it's good. It's good.
Actually,
Okay.
that has to do with a question I had about shape keyframing, because it was also like an option I saw in some simulation.
But I also did it, I think, in one video. But it's not a problem. I will show it. Okay. Actually, about keyframings, for people that are used also to see something more amazing like motion graphics, usually motion graphics is made in cinema, because cinema essentially step by step increased its ability to make very cool visual in an easy way for motion graphers. But actually, Blender is full of add-ons that you need to pay for, some very cool add-ons that cost like 15. For someone you pay something more, like 50, also 200 for some very expensive add-ons. But there are also a lot of good free add-ons, and there is one that is oriented to people who want to do something similar to sorry guys, but I had an alarm, so I was distracted. But there is also an add-on that can do some cool, very cool motion graphics inside Blender, okay, in a procedural way. But I haven't shown it because it's a way to animate that is not well seen by GLTF. What it means, that is not well seen by Spark and is not well seen by Hub, because almost every technology that is relating on virtual reality and augmented reality on the web is using that format. And that format, as I explained a bit in the video, or maybe in Discord, is a bit not limited, but has its own strength and also weakness. Because it's a format made to be very light for the web, but sometimes when you export texture from an FBX, I don't know, it's increasing the size a lot. And before to start to introduce other things inside the format, I think they have to fix these problems. And also because other formats are born to make different stuff, they are so complex that it's difficult to put all the things that these formats does inside the the GLTF. Because, for example, GLTF can export shape keys, as Luis just told. But, for example, in Hub, if you have multiple shape keys, before you have also to collapse the animations. And also, to have multiple shape keys, it's something very boring to make by hand. And so, the short answer is that to make a very complex animation, you have to transform in a format that is called alembic in shape keys. But what alembic supports and the GLTF doesn't is that supports also fluid dynamics. Shapes that not only change the shapes, but also change the amount of vertices. This is not possible in GLTF to have a different amount of vertices. So, if you have the same amount of vertices, you can try to export from this add-on in Alembic, but not every nodes work well with this. And to put Alembic inside Sketchfab. And Sketchfab allow you to download a GLTF, and that GLTF has all the keyframed shape keys. Okay. And after that, you have to collapse the animation. It's a bit complex. And I can show it to you, but it takes a lot because really I need to make the animation, to export it, to re-import it, and to collapse the animations. So if you want to see that, maybe I will make in the next days a video about it. Otherwise, I can show to you again the concept of keyframing now, and after I show to you only what is the power of animation node. Okay, is it okay?
Yeah, for me it's okay. I would like to know how to make this, so you can explain later. It's okay.
Okay, yeah, but I was just asking that because for the moment I think that before it's better to know how to put a keyframe, how to put stuff inside Blender, okay? How to go outside the Blender is another story, and for the moment the best way, I don't know if Vera you have seen it, the best way is to make a very simple animation, and I think the how to say it, the best the more complex animation that you can do now is similar to that one that I did with sound. Is the more complex thing that you can do in easy way, apart the ball with all following the path. So, to explain to Veronica how to keyframe stuff, I show again essentially how to make a ball following a path, okay? So you can ask me what is not clear. It's okay, Veronica? For everybody? Okay. So, let's clean our, I create a new file, so because this is becoming a mess, I erase everything, I enable my screencast keys. So if I want to make a ball following a path, what I did was to create a path, and I created it using a plane. Okay. I will explain also something else. If you need to go, guys, no problem. Okay, but now I explain why I did the path in this way, merging all the vertices at the center and starting extruding them and beveling them. And why I didn't do instead in this way. Oh, sorry. Okay. Why I didn't created already a. I hope everyone has seen the video. Why I didn't already created this just using a curve. The reason is that now if I transform this to a beveled one, okay, and I show you the topology, you see how many vertices I have. Instead, on this one, if I convert this to a curve and I bevel it, you see how less polygons I have. Is it clear? This is the reason.
Yeah.
Because if you make a curve from beginning, you are having a lot of topology. Instead, we need less topology, and I discovered this trick can allow you to have few polygons and more polygons where you need them, not on all the curve. After, let's go back. After converting this, I also check that I have my scale applied. Okay. After converting this to a curve, no, so I did the same. It's not a curve. No, it's a curve. After converting this to a curve, also, what I did, I put an empty. Oh, so this one, the arrow, to show to you that I can make this follow my curve. Just selecting it and going to constraint and track and follow path. And I select my curve. And after I have seen that sometimes doesn't work, I still have to figure what happened. Come on. Follow path. Guys, sometimes I think it's a fault of Blender. Just let me check if inverting the direction, maybe. This is a Bezier and it's working. Oh, you see, I went in edit mode of the curve. Sometimes happen. You just select the curve, you go in edit mode and it works. Now you see that is working. Why, when I have explained to you, the offset was negative and now instead is moving using positive values? See? It's because when I was in the curve, you see that I have these arrows and is saying to me the direction of the curve. Okay. And actually was the opposite of that one of the examples I did in the video. Okay, so you just select it, F3, invert. No, it's not here. Curve, and let's check spline type. Why? Sorry guys, I'm a bit bored today. Just a second. This is right. And curve direction. Why is not there? Don't remember. I use not so much this animation stuff. Oh, here on the contextual menu, you have switch direction, and I switched it. And now, if I watch my empty, is behaving in the same way of the example I did in the video. Okay. After what I did also follow curve. In this way, you see that my y-axis is also following. I think they have to fix something lately. Yeah. You select the when it's not working, you go in edit mode of the curve, okay, and you go back and you try again, because sometimes Blender can have some problems because they are still developing it day by day. So you have to try edit mode, exit, things like that, if it's not working. So now I have my objects following the curve. I disable follow curve for a moment, and I can make my without making the ball already. Okay. I can already animate it, but let's make the ball that is nicer. I make a ball with UV sphere. I scale it. I apply the scale. And after with the ball selected, I select also my empty. And I parent it with Ctrl P, and I select object keep transform. Okay. In this way, when I have selected my empty and I change my offset, I can animate it. Okay. To insert keyframes, okay, in the case I don't have, like, for example, here for transform, this small point, okay, and if I stay over, there is written animate property, and I click it, I animate it. If I have things like offset that don't have it, I have just to go over it, and with right click I can say insert keyframes, the first one, with right click. Otherwise, because I'm an old user of Blender, the fastest way is to go over and with I insert the keyframe. Now, here, you see I have it here. This is my keyframe. After, I move the head, of my timeline to a position that I want, 50, let's say, and I change my offset, okay, and I insert another keyframes. Now it's animated. Here I can reduce my timeline length. Now you see it is doing this. It's not starting immediately because my offset at the beginning was that should be 0. Sorry. Something happened here. Yeah. Here, 0. Let's see. Now it started at the beginning. See, from 0 to 100. This is how to animate everything. Just pressing I, you see, I can insert other things. For example, I can also move this here. So at the beginning, I reset here to I put 0. I press I inside my viewport. I say location. After I move my timeline to 18, I move again my empty, and I insert another location keyframe. And here, for example, I go down again, insert another keyframe. So now, if I play it again, you see that it's animated also on the location. Is it clear?
Yeah, very.
And with this technique, I don't explain you how to animate properly, you know, because if you want to animate properly things, after there are a lot of other things. For example, you go inside the animation tab, you see this strange stuff that sometimes I touch, and you go to graph editor. Here you see that I have my animated properties, and I can start to do crazy stuff like this, and now the animation is completely changed because my ball is there. Or I can scale along this. I inverted my animation. But depends really what you want to do. I can also change the interpolation of this, and I'm changing the wrong one, so I have to isolate it. And let's see. No, isolate it because I not selected the right one. Okay. So this one. You see, I just changed the position, just moving the way it's behaving. Now it's like bouncing from the heaven, because I have this different movement. Here I can animate it in a crazy way. Okay, instead answering to Luis, I erase everything now. What you can do to animate shape keys, for example, you add a UV sphere, okay, you go here, that object, and under shape keys, but I don't want to confuse you more because there are a lot of possibilities. I add a basic head shape keys, that is the first shape of my sphere, and after I add another one, and going in edit mode, with this selected, I scale it, for example, on Z. Now it looks like nothing happened, but if I change the value, you see that I have my shape keys here. And after I have it, I can create another one, okay, and on this one instead can be based on the second one, on the first one, and after I do something on the X, and Now I have this and this. Now I can animate the values. If I go out, edit one, okay, 0. And I can, so here put, why is not? Here I can put 0. I insert a keyframe. I move here and I put 1 and I insert here, sorry, another keyframe. After I select this one and I usually don't I do these things. Okay, do this, and after I increase it, and I do another. So now if I play it, you see that I have the different keyframes, the different shape keys animated by keyframes. Okay. It's not the most amazing animation, but it's just to make you understand that every parameter you can animate. And you can animate also inside Blender, you can animate the colors, you can animate a lot of things.
So
okay, guys.
If I have something with shape keys, different shape keys, a few, and try to do this thing outside Blender like you said, I can export them to Mozilla Hubs, doing all those steps that you explained.
Yeah, when you have multiple steps like this, I think you have to go just a moment because it's a bit tricky that this maybe here, not this one. Just a moment. Yes, keyframe. Yeah. I think you have to go here under nonlinear animation and create a nonlinear animation. Just pressing this. I think. Or because I did already inside inside Blender, just using the shape keys, okay, I can do this. Otherwise, let's import a model that I do that is responsive to music. Let's create again a new scene, and I think is just a second, guys. Let's show this one. Maybe it's this. Let's try. X F4 import. Because it was a test, because a lot of things are not working inside GLTF. So I tried to do this. Let's hope it's working. Maybe it's this sound animation displacement. Let's see what it is here. No, this one is the simple one that I have shown to you. So import. Animate, maybe this one. No, also the crash and blend. So, saves if you are working, because sometimes Blender crash. And okay, F4 import GLTF calls and animated maybe is one. I have to try because I did different text. Let's see. Yes, is this one. This one is animated using animation node and is following the sound. Okay. And it's also more complex because I have separated the vertices in a procedural way I show to you after. Okay. Here I have a lot of animation. You see, doing this by hand is insane. So I exported, selecting my model, the Alembic, and I have these keyframes. Also doing this by hand is insane. But after, if I go in animation and I go on nonlinear animation, no, that one, dope shit, no, because it's not something I use so much. So just a moment, guys. If I go to dope shit, maybe, and let's go back to dope shit. Yes, action editor. It's not this one. Check is dope shit. Targets. Guys, a moment. Sorry. Yeah. Oh, I already collapsed it, I think. You see, I have only this animation. Otherwise, you have to press this button, push down this one, push down the animation, and now I have it. You see, here I have a lot of keyframes, these dots. I go to nonlinear animation. I select my animation target shape, that is this one, and I collapse it. And I have this. After, if I export it to GLTF, we can try together. I export this to GLTF, and I call you Day 5. So I recognize it. Okay. Only selected object. And I go inside Firefox. Project. Go my testing ambient. And now I drag and drop my Day 5 GLB. Takes a while because it's a bit more complex. Okay. Now, if I go here under loop animation, I have my animation here. And if I test it, it works. This animation is made in this way. Is made in this way. That is not so easy. And because I did a lot of testing, I think is the second one. This one. Open, don't save. No, it's not this one. Let's try this one. No, it's not this. Maybe because I did it with... just a moment. No, it's not that one. It's not this one. Sorry guys, but I did many tests. Ecosphere. Yeah, it's that one. If now I share also the sound, you will listen that it's a weird sound that I've downloaded by Freesound. How can I share the sound? Yeah, this. And just a second, I disable. Yeah. Have you heard the sound? Yeah.
Yeah, very nice.
It was working accordingly to the sound. How is possible to analyze the sound? Okay, I created. Come on, it's sharing Zoom itself. I created a new. Come on, guys, don't want this stuff over. Actually, here where there is the plus, I can add a new place called video editing. Okay, under here there is a plus. I have already done it, so I don't redo it. Come on, go over. Here there is a plus, okay. And you can add a new workspace. You click on it, you go on video editing, there is video editing space, okay. And clicking on it, you have this new space. In this new space, okay, simply with Shift A, as in every other place in Blender, you add new object. Here, the object that you are going to add is sound. And thanks to another space that I have created where I have put here my node, animation node, okay, the animation node add-on is something that creates a new working space. And here I can analyze the sound from the sequence, split it to a sound spectrum, where you guys, you know more than me. Okay, Alexei, I have written now the message. Goodbye, if you are still here. If you have a question, you can also type on Discord later. So you can analyze your sound spectrum, okay? And here you have analysis of your spectrum, and you can start thanks to a sort of patching programming to create your animation. My animation here is displacing the vertices accordingly to the sound that is emitting. But now I'm worried to crash everything, but you can do more complex stuff. For example, you can create a matrices of objects, and these objects are animated without animating each object one by one. It's a very interesting add-on. And really, if you want to do some motion graphics inside Blender, I'd advise you to learn it. But also in the next version of Blender, they are implementing something similar to that, also because the developer of this add-on now is working inside the Blender Foundation Institute. So we will see something amazing soon. Not too soon, because to start to coding something like that is a bit complex. Sorry, just a moment, I drink. It's a bit complex, so it's something that is not arriving in the next days, but I think it's not far to arrive something similar like that. And also you can interact with physics, you can interact with particles. For example, now I'm just showing to you stuff. Don't be confused by it. I hope, okay? It's just to show stuff you can create. For example, I have a cube, and I can do stuff like this. see if it's working. I exploded my cube, and if before doing this, maybe I was subdividing it a couple of times. See, I did an explosion of the object because I don't have a plane, and if it's maybe with body at active, I add a plane, scale it, apply the scale, and after I add rigid body passive. Now, see. Why it's not working? This one is rigid body. Yeah, you can add physics, essentially. I have already shown to you something like that. Active. It's bad passive. Let's see if it works. Yeah. And after I can, maybe it's working. Yeah, I don't use it exploding stuff too much, but essentially you can animate an explosion. Okay, or now crash it because it's also a new version of this one, and it's working on not my hard disk but on external disk. So you know, Blender can crash sometimes, but not so often. Actually, you have seen me crashing a few times, I think. But also you can do something. Also, I'm asking to him to do something that is a bit, demanding. For example, like this. I have a smoke inside, and if I put a cube and let's say, why is not dark 9 not random? I wanted to do this. Yeah, can do stuff with explosions, fire. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Nice.
You can have fluids, you can have a lot of things inside. But, these things is not working inside the hub. To make it work, you have to start to render things, to make images with alpha. But it's very powerful. If someone else has question, otherwise, we haven't seen how to make things in apps, but are super easy. You just export it, and actually, I hadn't time to make a nice room, so it's just an empty room. You have seen that I have tested things, just dragging things there, and also sometimes audio is not so good there because it's demanding a lot with streaming like 10 microphone can be a bit demanding, and streaming your avatar. So I preferred to teach more as possible here, but really I would like to see your stuff inside the hub, and we can talk also the future. And if you have other questions, I'm here. Nice. It's okay. I have made use of it today. I know.
No,
I don't
we are
have any
here.
questions.
Yeah.
I
I hope you enjoyed the class. If you have other question, really, don't hesitate to ask it to me. And why not? I hope also to do something with you in the future. Why not? It's not never, nothing is excluded by my point of view.
Yay. Okay, so I have a question, like no one is
Yeah.
asking anything. So
Yeah.
about augmented reality.
Okay.
So if I wanted to do something to export to augmented reality, I don't understand about Mozilla Hubs. I don't know if I can put something there and it will work as augmented reality, or if I have to.
Mozilla Hub, maybe someone with more experience than me can answer to you in a better way, but actually is more for virtual reality than augmented reality. It's not for augmented reality for the moment. It's for a virtual reality that you can experience everywhere on your phone, on your old laptop, on the Mac, on the iOS, on the Linux, everywhere. Instead, if you want to start experiment on augmented reality, you have to start experiment with something else like Spark AR or other things. And actually, if
Unity.
you start, yep, Unity also Unity, but Unity you need to be a coder a bit.
I understand a little bit, so
Oh, cool, nice. If you understand coding, you can go to Unity, of course. You can do amazing stuff with Unity.
but do you
But but
you
but
think it's
depends.
best?
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I interrupted
No,
you.
I was only wondering if it's it's best like Spark Adobe or Unity, or it's all the same.
If what? It's not all the same. Depends. What are you sporting your experience? For example, if you want realism, I think that now the way to go is Unreal for realism stuff. Unreal Engine. Instead, if you want to have the ability to tweak more parameters as you want, you say you are also understanding coding. That's amazing. You can go to Unity to make some stuff, but depends what is your target. Because if your target instead is to spread something to a lot of people, I think you have to stick with Spark AR. And that looks a very cool technology. And instead, if you are making something for a specific client, it's better, to understand. It's better to understand what you want to obtain, because it's not a universal answer, I think. If you want to be professional on client, maybe Unity for augmented reality that can work on many platforms. But if your client asks you to have some amazing realism, I think Unreal is pushing it very far. It's using also ray tracing now. And I think that at some point we will have augmented reality ray tracing. So it depends. Really, the technology, I think, is still pretty new, even if it's almost, I think, already in the 60s, they were doing augmented reality and virtual reality things. And the concept is something for virtual reality that is coming for in the, I think in 1800, they already had something that looked a bit like virtual reality, was like just a mirror that the Emperor of France had. But it was working in the same way. There wasn't a video, okay? There was a picture, and it was a stereoscope, but it's the same of a stereoscopic view inside the Oculus with just a picture, not a video. But the concept is pretty old. So I think that even the technology is not so new. It's actually not so experimented. There are still a lot of experimentation space for everyone there.
Thank you.
For example, I'm not seeing still something amazing in the way you move inside virtual reality. It's not so different from 20 years ago. They are just scratching the surface.
Yeah. I'm actually studying a lot about how it works and everything, but more in an academic sense. And now I'm trying to make something in augmented reality and not only in the academics,
Yeah, I understand, and I think it's actually it's a very nice place to be now. It's a moment that is starting to spread a lot, this technology, and is becoming more and more accessible. The first virtual reality headset for humans was something as €13,000, and now with 500 you can have one, an Oculus, and the experience is much better than 13,000 version. So it's like with the smartphone. Times ago, the Nokia was the best, and it was a cell phone. And now, if you don't have an Apple, you're not considered by the society. So
Yeah, I get it.
so actually, it's changing the world. And also, it's absurd, that you. For my point of view, that you are spending like for a PC, if you spend €1,800 is too much, and if you spend the same amount on an iPhone, is not so much. It's a bit weird for me.
Yeah, for me it is also. And here in Brazil, like the prices are way too expensive. Like a computer is 5,000 reais, and it's insane.
Yeah, it's really, it's a matter of how is set up also the market around the world. And also you have to look to that when you are considering a technology. Because if you want to reach an audience, you have to consider the place where you are. If there are not so many, let's say, virtual reality headsets, maybe you have to start to see what they are doing in other parts of the world, where the use is instead already settled a bit more.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking about augmented reality, because you can access through your phones and not need to have an Oculus or something like that.
Yes, but if you think about this, for example, Unity is well considered because they have the integration with iOS. And who is developing for Unity in Unity for phones is not developing so much for Android. I think is more developing with a target to iOS. And yes, if your target is the phone market, I think for the moment is a bit better Unity than Unreal Engine. But at a certain point, they are investing so much money that I think they will reach that point also Unreal. And what you can do in Unreal is you can use visual scripting. Now Unity has it, but it's not so powerful as Unreal. So if you have to develop a prototype, is maybe faster Unreal at a certain point. But depends how good also you are in programming, because a thing is to program to start to coding something simple. If you need to do augmented reality things, for example, Spark AR is much simple.
Thank
Okay.
you, Marco. Yeah, okay.
Well,
Really helpful. I didn't know about the Unreal Engine, so I will take a look.
Unreal Engine is more realistic, I think, but is not oriented to augmented reality. Okay, and that's why I say that on some aspects is better Unity. But I think at a certain point they will also think about it. For example, they have developed a lot more things on Unity in the past on augmented reality. Okay, so Unreal I think is better for example, very realistic virtual reality spaces. But on augmented reality, they are not still there. They did an event in virtual reality with Fortnite. That was pretty cool. But to reach that level, you need a big budget. Okay.
Yeah, okay. And thank you so much for the classes. It was really helpful. Thank you.
Sorry?
Thank you
I
for
haven't
the
heard.
classes. It was very helpful.
I hope that everybody enjoyed it, and I hope to keep in touch.
Thank you, Marco. It was great learning from you.
Yeah. Thanks to you guys to having participated to the classes.
We will keep in touch. So thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. If everyone has other question, this is last class, so I don't run.
I don't have any more questions.
I'm good. Yeah, I think we can call it a night.
What, you have other question? If you want, no problem, really.
I'm good.
Don't worry about it. Okay. So goodbye to everyone. If you don't have another question, it's okay to me to say hello to everybody. It was a pleasure for me, and let's keep in touch.
Yeah, for us
Thank
too.
you, Marco. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Thanks.
See you. Bye.